Okay, welcome back, everybody, to the Vulnerability is Cool podcast. It is Pride Month, so I wanted to have some special guests on. And today we have the most special, my grandpa, David, my Gaypa, as I like to call him, and one of my best friends, the light in my life. And yeah, I'm so excited to have him on today. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here.
Good. We've been talking about this for a minute, so I'm so excited. And so today I kind of want to go over a lot of things. I want to go over your experience, obviously being gay, and how you came to find yourself and to be honest with yourself, and how you navigated your spirituality, where you're from, what you're doing now, just lots of different things, okay?
Everything on the light side.
Yes.
Okay.
You can share some of the dark side if you want to. We're here for it. Vulnerability is cool.
Those are deep subjects. I hope I do them justice.
Yes, yes. You're amazing. And I know you'll do amazing. And so I couldn't think of a better guest to have than my favorite person, my Grandpa David. And I kind of just want you to start in telling us like where you were raised and kind of your upbringing and just start from the beginning.
Well, I was raised here. This is what I'm used to. I was born in the northern part of California, but I have no actual recall of any place but this house. We moved here when I was 2.
And we're in Eagle Rock.
And Eagle Rock, went to Eagle Rock Elementary School, Eagle Rock Middle School, Eagle Rock High School.
Beautiful.
And college isn't too far from here either.
Where did you go to college?
I went to college at Art Center, College of Design.
Cool.
It's now perched over on the hill, one of those hills that you can almost see from this window.
Oh, yes. I'll have to post a picture of the window view because it's beautiful. And so you were raised here in this house, and you have 2 siblings.
That's right.
And you guys were raised LDS.
Absolutely. Born into the church, product of multi-generations of Mormons.
Yep. And okay, so then what happened? You were raised here and then went to elementary school, went to college. Did you always kind of know that you were gay, or how did you come to find that out?
I think I always knew, but I was in denial for a very long time. And we play a little game in the church because they tell you gay isn't an identity, it's a behavior. So I was able to kid myself by saying, well, I've never done anything in my life. I've never broken any commandments. So I'm not really gay.
True.
But that
I could totally see that
out after a while.
Yeah.
Especially after my mission, I came back and I thought I need to go about getting married, and that really wasn't working out very well for me at all. And then that was the time to get serious about how it wasn't working for me.
But did you almost get engaged or something?
Yes, I had a beautiful girl that we had kind of had an agreement. It was just a proto-engagement. Her name was Angelica, and she lived in the southern part of Chile. And I liked her very much. It wasn't unpleasant. It just kind of felt inauthentic.
Yeah. Did you meet her in your mission?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And I made a trip back to get to know her better a year later.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, I did. I missed South America so much. I wanted to be back there. And I thought, I rationalized it by saying, well, now if I'm going to get married, this would probably be a good place to start.
Yeah. And did you ever tell anyone that you had like these gay feelings, or did you keep that all to yourself and try to push it away?
I kept it to myself for the longest time until it seemed sustainable.
Yeah.
And I was the oldest virgin on record, I must say, because I didn't want to deal with this until I was almost 30. But my coming out was just a little bit earlier than that.
Okay.
So that was probably when I was in my late 20s.
And did you ever think that you would come out?
No.
Okay.
It just seemed beyond the pale. It just wasn't on my radar. It wasn't in the realm of possibilities.
Did you feel like people had suspicions, or did you feel like you hid it pretty well?
Oh, yes. They read me like a book. I mean, in high school, they were calling me fag, and they were, you know, I didn't even know what that meant. I just thought that was like a wuss or something. But they all had my number, and I thought it was kind of unfair of them to guess. But as I said before, I realize I'm not undetectable. So
Were you like super into dance, or you've always been into the arts, right?
yes. Yes, well, that's right. And we took dance lessons as children in this in the garage, as a matter of fact, right here.
Yeah.
We had a ballet teacher who was part Russian, and she taught us the fundamentals of ballet and tap dancing and acrobatics. So, I was a danseur for a while, and then I was always interested in the visual arts too, and music. So that should have been somebody's first clue.
Yeah. And were you like super into clothing and stuff? You're obviously into design. Were you into design before? Okay.
Yes, and I went with my sister's dolls, the Barbie doll, Tammy, and the Kerr collection. I wanted to be I was an aspiring Bob Mackie. I wanted to create little gowns for them and have fun doing that. So I was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It later paid off, and we did costumes for our performances. My mom was the main person doing those, but I helped. So
yeah,
a theatrical family.
Makes sense. You guys are all so creative and artistic, and yeah, it's so cool. And when you were growing up, did you like ever feel like dark feelings of like, why do I feel this way? Or did you just kind of like push it aside? Like, did you ever sit with those feelings?
I don't know that it disturbed me very much. It's really such a part of identity. And I think everybody cherishes their true identity.
Yeah.
It's kind of a panicking thing in you to think that you have to sacrifice that. So I didn't feel dark about it. The darkest part of my life was after I started to come out. And
wait, tell us about that process. How did that happen?
Well, the mission to get married to a South American girl had failed miserably.
Did you think she knew that you were gay or no?
I don't think she did, but she may have. But it was really I who broke it off. I think she wanted to go ahead, but she wasn't making the effort to come to live here. I think she thought I was going to live in Chile, and that would have been impossible. So
yeah,
it was doomed for at least 2 reasons. But after that, I realized there was a need to come out. It just wasn't getting any clearer. You know how when you're going down a one-way street the wrong way, it isn't working, and you need to make a U-turn somehow.
Yeah.
So if I can elaborate on that a little bit, I had 2 friends, 2 friends that I met when I was so lonely. I just prayed to God, please send me a friend. And he sent 2. And I didn't specify gay friends, but he knew what I needed. God knew I needed some gay mentorship. So
did you have anyone in your life that was gay at the time?
No.
Okay.
No, I was alone.
Yeah.
Isolated. But these friends were good. And Camilo, my friend, clipped out one of from a gay publication, local publication that you'd pick up in bars, a little listing, a page of listings, and it listed gay Mormons, affirmation gay Mormons. And he took his yellow highlighter and went over it, and he said, David, prepare yourself, sit down. And I just didn't know that such a thing could exist, gay Mormons. But so I did, I went to that, you called that
so
number.
you prayed for this friend and then he showed you this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
We knew them. I knew them for quite a while before the subject came up, but we were working our way toward it. They had me figured out long before I had them.
Okay. Wait, and how did you meet them, did you say?
Well, that's another story. I was in Los Angeles County Art Museum making a drawing of a painting by John Singer Sargent, and it was a very handsome young man, model that he used. John Singer Sargent was a gay artist, and his choice of subject matter kind of resonated with me. And someone came up and said, "I love that drawing you're doing. I'd like to buy it from you."
Wow.
So that was my friend Peter, and he and Camilo are good friends now. They're officially married.
Amazing.
But that's how we met, in the Los Angeles County Art Museum in front of a John Singer Sargent painting that I was copying.
Nice.
Funny how these things sort themselves out.
Yeah, and he's quite the artist. I forgot to mention that too. And so then he just told you about this gay Mormon group?
Yes.
He just said it, but you guys had never talked about the fact that you were gay.
I think we had, the subject came up, and yeah, I was inching toward that all the time. And then they would take me
did you almost want them to ask you, is that how you felt? And you wanted it to come up, or?
Probably underneath I did.
Yeah.
But I wasn't pushing toward anything in particular. It just happened.
Yeah.
But they knew where they were going, and they knew what I needed. So.
And you never had told your sister, Vicky, or Jack, your brother?
No.
Okay.
No. I just feel like I had to be fully armed before I ever opened my mouth about anything gay, because it was so beyond the pale.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be sure of where I'm at, and I wanted to be sure.
Yeah. And then tell us about the gay Mormon group. This is always so interesting to me.
Well, I
tell us all about it.
got the phone number.
Details.
All right, I got the phone number, and I called it, and I found out there were meetings. In those days, there were people in their living room would host a meeting every month. It was usually on a Sunday night. So the first one I went to was in Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles in Hollywood, and the place was packed. We got there, and it was standing room only, or sitting on the floor, which is what I did. And I looked across the room, and can you imagine whom I saw?
Could it be Grandpa Leo?
It was Grandpa Leo. It was Leo. And he had a blonde boy sitting on his lap. I thought, oh, this is interesting. But he happened to be at the very first meeting that I was ever at. And we didn't connect at that point. We did later over the art thing.
Yeah. Okay, I want to pause here and kind of explain that how you're my grandpa. Because my grandpa Leo was married to my grandma Renee, and then they ended up getting divorced when my mom was like 14. And then my grandpa, you think that he was always, he's bisexual. He likes both men and women, right? Is that kind of your understanding of him?
I think more gay than.
But he was kind of trying to mask it with getting married.
But he did pretty well for all those years. And, and the really strange thing is he was not in a hurry to get out of that marriage. He was hanging on to it with both hands.
Yeah.
So.
And then it kind of just.
Renee did not want to stay married.
Yeah. But she didn't know that he was gay, right? It was kind of just.
I think she had her suspicions.
Okay.
And I wouldn't.
Because Grandpa Leo he's not super flamboyant. Once you get to know him, you realize that he's a diva. But you don't realize if you're just meeting him, I don't know if you'd totally suspect that he was gay if he wasn't with you. I don't know, you know?
Yes, I'm the one who gives us away.
Yes.
When people see us together.
Yes, you're so handsome and articulate. And so then my grandpa came out when my mom was 16. And then my whole life, I didn't know that my grandpa was gay. My grandparents had been divorced my whole life. And I just knew that grandpa always had a friend, and his friend would always come on vacations. And I was always very jealous. Like, why does Grandpa Leo get to have a friend on vacation, but I don't? And I was always told that David was the friend. And then I think eventually one day I just connected the dots, and I realized that they were in love, and they were partners and that they weren't just friends. But
We're very astute to connect those dots.
yeah. And I'm really grateful for that, actually, because now my whole life I feel like I'm always just so want to be with the gay people. I love gay people. And I feel like I've always been so open-minded and so protective of them because of you guys, because I've known your stories and I've seen how you guys interact with people and how lovely you are. And yeah.
Well, that was our great delight to find out that you were already on board and you understood these things well. And we thought we were keeping things keeping realities from you that you didn't want to face, but you were more than prepared. So,
yeah,
we're keeping it under wraps, but why exactly? Again, I don't know,
yeah,
because you were ready.
yeah. And I was so excited. And my whole life, I always tell people, oh, my gay grandpas that live in LA. Oh, my gay paws, my gay paws. I'm always so excited about it. And one of the best things about you guys is that you romanticize everything in your life. You always do. Like if we have dinner, you always have a beautiful place setting and everything set up. Or if we come to visit, we go to Palm Springs and stay at a beautiful hotel. And you just love all the details and all of the food. And I've definitely taken some of that from you guys.
It's important to live the beautiful life.
Yes.
And my sister Vicky is indispensable in that regard too. She shares the same vision that we have.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's so true. So beautiful and exquisite with her clothes and everything that she does, even the way she talks. Yeah. Okay. So back to, you saw Leo and then tell us. Oh, and this group was called Affirmation?
Yes, Affirmation Gay and Lesbian Mormons.
Yeah, that's so crazy. What year was this, do you think?
I think it was 1983.
Okay. Wow.
It was right about the time that AIDS was becoming a huge issue.
Perfect timing.
So I came out in the era of AIDS just as it appeared. And in some ways, I'm very grateful to my Mormon background, which kept me the world's oldest virgin for quite a long time. Because if I decided to strike out and I'm going to find my happiness wherever I can take it. If I had been in a big hurry, to get to leave the church and find self-realized as a gay person, I might have run smack into health issues.
Yeah.
But we both avoided them. Leo did not have those issues, and I didn't. So there are blessings for people who try to do the right thing.
Yeah. And were you nervous to go to this group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, did it almost feel like rebellious, kind of, that you were going to a gay Mormon group?
It felt daring. It felt extremely daring. And you know how guilt plays a part in all of this?
Yes.
We were all sitting in this living room. Someone came in and announced that a car had crashed into one of the parked cars, and they were trying to find out if it was any one of us. And we thought, uh-oh, who got struck who got struck down for coming here? We thought it was punishment or retribution, but
I could totally understand that thinking. Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah. And so they just all came together. That's so wild to me that they started a gay Mormon group in that time,
It was very much needed.
Was it just to like kind of help you guys process like leaving the church, or were they encouraging you to stay in the church?
Well, at the time, their official policy was just help us to deal with the issue, whether we decided to stay or not. And I appreciated that because I didn't want to leave. I still wanted to be the perfect gay Mormon. If they'd let me continue in temple service, I would have done that.
Yeah.
I had a need to prove that I could be good and spiritual and be gay at the same time.
Totally. Did your family know at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
I came out to them.
So your whole family?
To everyone but my father, who was living in Utah at the time.
And how did they react?
Well, they were surprised. They shouldn't have been surprised.
You're like, I gave you all the signs.
Yeah. Now that I was acknowledging it, it was a big deal. It was a game changer for them. But they've been very supportive. And my mother soon had inspiration that I was going to be fine. So that helped.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and I feel like Vicky would be very, very loving in that situation.
Yes.
She's always supportive of everything. Yeah. Okay. And now I forgot, but back to Leo, when you met Leo. So you saw him, there was a man sitting on his lap, and Leo was my grandpa, if you forgot. But you saw a man sitting on his lap. Was that his boyfriend? I don't know anything about grandpa's dating before you.
And a place to sit, and I guess Leo was happy to provide a knee.
Okay.
And I asked him, who was that blonde young man? And he still doesn't know to this day.
Wow.
So obviously that was not a deep connection of any kind.
Yeah.
But Leo, Leo was doing art shows, in gay bars in West Hollywood. And he found out
with his photography?
With his own photography,
okay.
But he also engaged other people to do shows.
Okay.
So he was like a gallery curator, getting people to show their work,
cool.
Whether it was photographic or illustrative. And that's what I did. He came to me and asked to see my work, and I showed it to him. And we became good friends after that. And then soon after, I found myself going to concerts with your mother and Steve. And
wow.
We went to hear Messiah in Pasadena, a Baroque performance. And we found that we had tremendous personal interest. How do I want to say this? We had shared interest.
Yeah.
Is the way to say that. We were really on the same page about so much. So we developed a great friendship before anything sexual ever happened.
Cool.
It was at least a year and a half. And
had he dated like a boyfriend before this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He had a series of friends, and I guess they just didn't. For one reason, they didn't turn out to be, one reason or another, they didn't turn out to be the people that he hoped they would be. But there were many, and I was fine with that. No problem at all.
Yeah.
I only had one serious boyfriend.
Really? I never knew this.
Just one. And again, that felt wrong. But it was just enough experience to help me see what, it would be like if it's wrong.
Yeah. So, okay. And then was Leo did he want to stay and be like a gay, progressive kind of Mormon? Or was he kind of like at this point over it kind of? Like, were you guys still trying to stay in the church?
Oh, yes. I think he supported me in that.
Okay.
And that was good because I really did want to do that. And I left the church very reluctantly. And I'd like to say, too, that it really wasn't because I'm gay. That was not the issue with me. The historicity of the church, the foundational claims, the problems with the Book of Abraham, problems with the First Vision, problems with the Book of Mormon, all of these critical issues are what changed my mind about being in the church. But because I told myself the foundation is good. It's just the leaders today who don't understand.
Yeah.
I came to see later that it's that they don't want to understand, and they really don't want to try to rescue people like me and keep us in the church.
Yeah, totally.
It was Boyd K. Packer who declared war on gays, intellectuals, and feminists. And I'm kind of all three, if you think about it. And so, but yeah, we were considered expendable. And so the church didn't do very much to keep us in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, it's so hard to navigate. That was always, before I ended up leaving the church, it was always, gay people in the church, it was always pray about it. And like, it's just something we can't understand right now. But in the next life, we'll understand it,
Yes.
But then it would be so hard for me because I would always try to put myself in your shoes. Like, well, if I was forced to marry a woman, which I'm not, and to women, that would feel very wrong for me, you know, and it wouldn't feel, inauthentic, and it wouldn't be comfortable, and I would hate that. So I'm like I try to tell people, like, imagine yourself having to love someone that you don't love. But then it would just always be the answer of like, it's just something we don't understand. But it would be very confusing for me because I was raised with gay grandpas. And so the idea that I couldn't be with you forever was like, honestly, one of the biggest things for me my whole life. I just was like, okay, I don't understand it. But to the point that I would like not go to your wedding, or like, I wanted to support you, but I didn't feel like I could because it was like so conflicting, you know? I think you guys had like a very intimate wedding, but I remember even other friends, like I'd be like, they're gay, so I can't try to set them up with another gay person because then I'm supporting them in their decision to sin or whatever it is, you know?
Think about what you were going through for your part.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was always just so interesting. No. It was always just so interesting to me, you know? And because of you guys, I was always very attracted to like having gay people in my life and like hanging out with them. And I loved learning their coming out stories because I'd heard from you guys and your experience, and it just felt so familiar to me, you know? But yeah, so I can't even imagine trying to navigate that. And if you did have a testimony and when you did, trying to feel like you had a place in the church where you'd always been accepted, and then all of a sudden you're showing your true colors and you're not accepted for who you are, you know?
Yes, as long as you stop playing the part they want you to play, or when you stop playing that part, then everything changes. The heavens roll up. Your inspiration is supposed to dry up. All those terrible things happen to you. Except with me, they didn't. And that's the thing. I've always been, thanks to my mother and father and their wonderful example, I've always been so confident about my ability to receive inspiration, about my faith in God, that never really wavered. The whole time I wanted to do the right thing, whatever that was.
Yeah.
When I thought it was getting married, I thought I wanted to do that. Then the possibility dawned on me, thanks to the literature I got from affirmation, that there might be an unimaginable thing, a possibility that I just could not think of before, of finding happiness with the person of the same sex.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be marriage because there was no such thing.
Wait, was the leader of the affirmation group, were they Mormon, and were they gay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is an organization of gay Mormons. There are plenty of such organizations around town, and I think every every kind of conservative fundamentalist denomination has one such.
Yeah.
Pentecostals, Baptists, all the evangelicals, they have these groups.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because we kind of need to know, how we're trained to be so suspicious of anything that is non-Mormon. We don't want to be led down that road to apostasy. So we have to have everything Mormon.
Yeah.
But it was helpful. And I'm very grateful that affirmation didn't put pressure on me to leave the church until I was entirely ready.
Yeah, that's really impressive. And I feel like that'd be hard to be navigating that as like the leader of the group, you know? And so before this, you had never considered like yourself marrying a man?
No.
Okay. Even when you knew you were gay, you were just kind of like, no.
I thought it would be a disaster.
Yeah, totally.
And then I began to see room. I began to see daylight. I realized that not only was the church telling me things that weren't so, like I chose this. I knew that wasn't so. Mm-hmm. Because I was reared to be everything.
Oh, like you chose this before this life. Is that what you're talking about?
No, that somehow I had chosen, decided to be gay.
Oh, that it was a choice for you.
Perversity or something.
Okay.
I just decided that, I wanted to be selfish or, throw it all under the bus.
Why would you choose such a hard path? Like, there's no way.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I spoke before of this, part of my identity. I mean, it's a paradoxical thing because on the one hand, I want to be true to my faith, but the loss of who I really am is very frightening to me.
Yeah, totally.
I don't want to be another person that somebody else finds more acceptable. I want to be who I am. I would grieve if I lost my identity in trying to please my parents
Yeah.
or leaders of the church or anybody. So it was a great relief to come out.
Yeah. Wow. That's really beautiful. That's really beautiful that you just stayed true to yourself, you know, and that you didn't let the other people's opinions like differ what you were going to do.
I think you have to be. I think that that line from Shakespeare should be scripture. Be true to yourself, and you can't be. If you are true to yourself, you won't be false to any other person.
Yeah.
I think that is really an important.
That's
idea.
awesome. Yeah.
Should be canonized.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. Wow. So many things that I didn't like totally know. Okay. So then you and Leo are kind of hanging out, and then how did everything start? Did you have feelings for him when you guys were just friends?
I liked him as a friend. There's 28 years difference in our ages.
Okay.
So I had other ideas, to be honest with you. I thought, I thought we'd be good friends, but
Do you think he had the idea that?
I think he saw me in a different light. But I will tell you something. I've always been inclined to personal revelation.
Yeah.
You know how it is in the church. We put a great store on that kind of thing. So I remember a thought came into my head. It did seem to come from a place beyond me. It wasn't something I was wanting or expecting, but a thought kind of came into my mind that Leo would be the friend that I've always been looking for.
Wow.
It qualifies, I guess you could say, as a personal revelation. I remember that and I thought, wow. But I didn't know what to do with it because nothing was in place. But it was God's way of telling me, be open to what unfolds.
Yeah. Wow.
And sure enough, it did. I mean, if I've ever received any revelations in my life, if I've ever been prescient about anything, it was that.
Yeah. Look at you now. You're a great grandpa. With Leo. It's crazy. Yeah. That's so cool. Okay. So then you had that thought, and then how did everything unravel?
Well, Leo had another boyfriend at the time, and we were friends. And the other boyfriend was kind of a wild child. He was not housebroken. And so he would bring marijuana into the house when it was not legal. And
Yeah.
he had outside connections. He had kind of a sketchy past too. He was a sweet boy, but he'd grown up in an orphanage. And so he was a bit wild. And this relationship was doomed. And Leah would call me up and say, oh, Edward is doing this now and he's doing that. And I would listen. We would commiserate and, all these young kids and all of that stuff. And at that point, we began to realize that we have a great deal in common. So I was there kind of as the consoling figure and the shoulder to cry on. And then I thought, well, I guess it's a hard thing to describe, but at some point I thought, no, this should be a relationship. So it became one in the summer of 1985, August 1985 in Palm Springs.
Wow. Your guys' favorite place.
Yeah, has good memories.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's so cool. I never knew that Grandpa had another boyfriend.
He's had lots of them. As Renee once said, there have been so many.
Were you intimidated because he had 2 kids and an ex-wife, or how did you feel about that?
Not really.
Okay.
It was just something to navigate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was a little difficult because Leo wasn't ready to come out to his family.
Oh, okay. Like his family as in his kids?
Well, the children, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and if I had my way, I think I would have urged him to do that a little sooner. He tells his own story, and it was very important for him to keep that under wrap for the time. He was fighting for custody of the kids, and he fought for custody of the kids, and he didn't want to lose them, and he he didn't want the church putting exerting undue influence on any of that.
Totally.
So he did not want anyone to know. I kind of wish they could have known.
Yeah.
I think you need to trust people. They usually figure it out, just like you did.
Yeah, they were probably
before.
confused, like I was, just like, who's this friend, you know?
And I know your mother had a difficult time because she liked a lot of the friends that he had. I know, I've been told, but she didn't realize why they were there and why. So
totally, and also like, why did they get divorced? They're probably just confused in general already, So
yeah.
And then what happened? And then so you guys just started dating?
Well, yes, and we've always lived apart. I've continued to live at the family home with my two siblings, and my parents were both alive then, so they continued. But we would do things together. We would be friends, and that was the official explanation. Friends.
Yeah.
So, you weren't the only one that was.
Even your family was under this impression?
Yes.
Okay.
And at some point, I did explain it because it got to be a little awkward to keep inventing elaborate excuses. Oh, we're going on.
And
a
you
trip
probably
to Palm
felt
Springs together.
Mm-hmm.
We're just friends.
Yeah. Okay. Were you nervous because he was so much older than you to tell them?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. It is an age discrepant relationship, and people often assume that he's my father or something.
Yeah.
They're baffled. That works in our favor sometimes if we don't feel like explaining. But now every chance I get, I say, he's my husband.
Yeah.
So people won't misunderstand.
Mm-hmm.
And they still forget and they think he's my father. But seeing is believing, I guess.
Yeah. And did you guys ever break up?
No.
Wow.
No. See, Leo was a divine gift in my life.
Yeah.
And I have tried to be a blessing in his life too. So we really don't fight. We had none of these childish games. I was 30 when we started going together, 30 plus, I guess. And there was just, the kid stuff was all gone by then.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and when you have this personal revelation that I was talking about, this is the right person. When you have that, it leads you to value the relationship. And to Leo's credit, he taught me that you never put the relationship on the line. If you never use it in a fight, you never put it at risk because of a fight,
Yeah.
You don't say a lot of stuff that's hurtful and destructive. So we disagree on a lot of things, matters of decor and whatnot, all the important stuff, matters of menu and whatever it is. But we just never put the relationship on the line because that's something that's sacred in my view.
Totally. No, that's awesome. Kind of like it's us versus the problem, not me versus you kind of thing.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I've never seen you guys fight at all. I mean, you're definitely more Leo loves history, and I feel like you like to connect on different things sometimes with people. So you keep him in line for sure.
I love history too. I was an A student in history in high school, and I've always loved it, and I've continued to study. But I do realize people can get enough of that.
Yeah. Maybe want to talk about different things sometimes. Yeah.
See, that's the truth of the matter. I pretend to be something else, but I'm kind of pedantic myself. So that's why we get along, and that's another area of common interest, that we share so many things.
Yeah.
And we can discuss things. Once a gay friend was in the back seat, and Leo and I were Leo was driving and I was sitting in the passenger seat. And we were having this very involved discussion on George Bernard Shaw's essay, The Perfect Wagnerite. Now that's an esoteric topic, but we were discussing it, and my friend in the back seat was taking notes on our conversation. And he said to me later, now I know why you guys are together.
Makes so much sense.
I thought it was something else, presumably money or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
But in fact, it was the common interest. He saw that, and that's true.
yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, you guys are a great pair. Perfect duo. That's all I've ever known. Okay, so when you guys started dating, then you ended up telling your family, but did they already have assumptions, did you say, or no?
I think they realized it. I mean, it wasn't hard with the designing Barbie dresses, Barbie prom gowns and things like that.
Yeah, totally.
You know, they could connect those dots.
Did you let them know you were going to this group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And they were very supportive, even before they quite realized that I was in a relationship with Leo. They wanted me, they supported me in coming to terms.
Okay.
With this. And they knew my goal was to stay in church and be as good a little gay Mormon boy as I possibly could.
Wait, and when did that kind of shift? When you were dating Leo or before you started dating Leo?
Even while I was dating Leo.
Okay.
And I thought, well, it's just something.
Would you guys go to church together?
Yes.
Okay.
Many times the LA Singles Ward, he would go with me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I did as much as I could there. When I realized the church was not in any hurry to understand this issue and didn't really care what light I might bring to it, what the value of my personal experience. I still thought, I want to be there and I'll do what I can to change minds. When affirmation wasn't as helpful as it was in the beginning, I actually helped start another group.
Wow.
In the LA First, in the Los Angeles Stake. It was called the Third Friday Group.
Wow.
And we would meet with the former stake president every month. We'd have a meeting there on church grounds, and we would talk about being gay and being Mormon. It was another kind of support group.
Yeah.
But this one more specifically for people who had a goal of staying in the church.
Yeah.
You know, they would. So we were supposed to be free to say whatever we wanted, what was ever on our minds. But Howard Anderson had one criterion that he insisted on. He said it should always end on a positive note, which is good.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we did. And that was good for a while. But then the church dispatched two people. They got wind of this group and they dispatched two judges, like angels sent from heaven to judge the cities of the plain, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
So they dropped in and they were taking notes and with grim faces and all of that. And I thought, this is just the end of it. So, you know, and it was. They closed it down because they just don't want any extracurricular, they didn't in those days want any extracurricular activity or anything like that, even though what we were doing was, we thought, overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
They said no.
And helpful to so many that are feeling lost and feeling like they don't have a place. But just like you're trying to navigate being in the church, but being gay and like trying to create that balance. But
in those days too, I wanted people to stay. I mean, that was my personal goal. I thought they should stay.
Yeah.
Then when I realized later how mistaken I was, how the foundational claims, how erroneous they really are, I realized that's unsustainable.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to do that at the time. I never really talked anybody out of wanting to be in the church. I might give different advice now because of what I've learned. But.
Yeah, totally. So that's really cool that you were like kind of trying to create like this progressive group that was going to make both things work. But then I feel like time after time you were just shown that was not going to be possible.
Yes, I feel like I explored every avenue possible before I left, and then I realized there's just nothing here.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And then did you, how did you, like, where would you say you're at spiritually now? Like, how have you navigated that with spirituality and God and those kind of things, and where has that led you today?
Well, I feel like I am the same person I always was, the same faithful, believing Mormon boy. I don't believe in all the tenets of Mormonism, but I believe in God. And I have always felt that I have the gift of the Holy Spirit in my life. When those hands were laid on me, that was a real thing. And I've always had that guidance, that enlightenment in my life. And that was the shocking thing, that even though I was doing all these forbidden things that were supposed to be against the rules, the Spirit never left.
Yeah, that's so powerful.
I had this idea that, the Spirit would withdraw. I'd be miserable. I'd be suicidal. I'd be all these things. But that never happened.
Yeah.
Because I always reasoned that because God got me into this mess, so to speak, because I was born in the church, God would help me get out of it. And sure enough, that he did.
Yeah.
So I am the same today. In fact, I get as much inspiration as ever I did on my mission or any other, but it just hasn't gone away because I know I have that relationship with the Holy Spirit that is now fully independent of the church.
That's so cool. And my whole life, you and Grandpa Leo have always told me to follow the Holy Ghost, that I still have the Holy Ghost no matter what part of my life I'm at. And I totally believe that too.
Because you do have to make a decision at some point. You say to yourself, especially when you've been on a mission, you say, well, were those all lies that I was I kidding myself? Was it all just emotion?
Yeah.
And I couldn't answer that. I couldn't say it was. I believed in it. And I've had great spiritual experiences with people who were baptized. They're still good members. And, I felt God working through me.
Totally.
In those instances. So
even meeting Leo and having those feelings totally makes sense. Yeah.
It's not been a fraud. I haven't been fraudulent. And so I could not let go of anything that I thought was real or valuable. I wanted to hang on to all of it. And I've done a good job, I think.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Totally. You just have this light. You totally do. And
Thank you.
I think it's so beautiful. And I always have appreciated that about you.
So, I think, and that is probably the message that I would want people to understand, that there is, especially Mormons struggling, that there is already daylight between God, your relationship with God and the Holy Spirit, and the Mormon church. And God can use the Mormon church to teach you many things. If I talk about the good things that I got from church, we could do a whole nother program about that. How it teaches you to be, how it encourages you to do public speaking.
Totally.
And all these, because of the lay clergy and the lay, and the, everything is volunteer. Mm-hmm. So that helps you to develop as a person. Helped me musically and in many ways. So I'm very happy to have had that. But God can work through that. So I'm just not in a hurry to see anybody throw it away until they're good and ready.
Yeah, totally. And I think something that I'd like to highlight from what you said is kind of like the light was already in you. It's not just Mormonism. That light will always be in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot confuse the two. It will be there, and it always was.
Yeah.
And that was, like I said, the great discovery. That would be the message that I would give to people, is that if you have that, it stays with you. If you don't let it go. I mean, you can be tricked into thinking, I've got to let it go. I've got to turn my back on God.
Yeah.
I'm doing that anyway. But if you don't, if you cling to those, those gifts will be with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true.
That's quite a revelation.
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
Itself.
So I feel like maybe you already answered this question, but if you feel like there's one thing that your younger self could have known, what would you wish you could tell your younger self?
Well, that God is completely accepting of gay sexuality. I had that many times brought home to me in my life. God made human beings, made human sexuality. It's not just binary, as the church teaches. And so the plan of salvation, if it's ever going to be ample, has to be expanded to include a role for gay people and lesbians and transgender and bisexuals. It needs to include all of those things.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it's so true. Well, thank you so much, Grandpa David. This has been such a beautiful episode, and I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people.
I would hope so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Wednesday. That was so good. Do you feel good?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah. I feel like that was so beautiful.